Hi everyone and welcome along to day 3 of the Advent calendar. I really hope you've enjoyed what we've painted so far, so let's see what's behind the door on the 3rd of December. Oh, amazing. One of our first foodie illustrations. We've got hot chocolate with a candy cane. Grab your paints and let's get started. Well, this is going to make us all hungry. So let's draw 2 curving lines into the middle, and then we'll do a curve on the base and a curve that kind of mirrors that on top, and we'll do a handle and I'm going to make this a glass one, so we're going to see inside and we're going to see the cream and the hot chocolate sort of come to there, and then a nice big whippy top, and of course a candy cane sticking out the top, and that'll sort of get lost in there a little bit, so we'll just even up the shape of our mug. So if you're at home drawing along, I would highly recommend that you draw really lightly in your pencil, because it's then much easier to rub out afterwards. If you pencil in really hard, it's very, very difficult to get rid of it. So just keep that in mind when you're painting. Now I'm going to use a lovely burnt sienna as my main chocolatey colour, but we'll also be using a little bit of our other browns. This is a little raw sienna, this one. And I also want a bit of Payne's grey, which is always very useful for darkness. So I use if you're a regular viewer of my YouTube channel, you'll know that I use a lot of the shadow mix, which I refer to, which is a mixture of Payne's grey and burnt sienna, and then we dilute it right down. So you can see I've sort of got a lot in the palette, and now I'm just adding water and sort of gradually moving it away, and I'm left with this really faint grey colour, which is going to be very useful today. Anyway, let's begin. So I've got my size 0 brush, and I'm going to begin with my burnt sienna. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint just inside the edge of that mug, because it is a glass mug. So I'm cleaning my brush off now, and I am going to paint in the colour, but purposefully leave a few little bits of unpainted space. And I've got my edge there as well, and then clean off my brush and just come up to the spot where the cream is going to meet the mug, and that to me has given it a really nice sort of realistic sense of the shine of the light on the mug. Now if I get just a little bit of Payne's grey mixed in with my burnt sienna, and I'm just making a slightly deeper, more chocolatey brown, I'll pop a little bit of that in there. Like I said, this is more of a hot press paper, so we're not going to be looking for like big beautiful blends. We're looking for more sort of layers of colour here. And now I'm going to take that other brown and dilute it right down, and we're going to just place a little bit on our cream, and then of course the cream comes down inside the mug. So there we have it. Now I need to let that dry before we put the candy cane in, but what we can do is start to look at the glass. So I've got this really shady dilute shadow colour here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to edge, just going to outline the handle there. And then I'm going to take my even smaller brush take a tiny bit more colour on, and I'm going to very carefully just outline the mug, and it might touch the brown, it might not, it's all right. But the idea is we want to just acknowledge the fact that it is a glass mug, so I'm just doing a few little sort of brush strokey marks there, and just a little bit, oh, ping. And a little bit of that there as well. Because glass is just there to be reflecting everything. Okay, we'll let that dry and then we'll add in the candy cane. Now that's dried, I'm going to take some cadmium red and we're going to paint in the stripes on our candy cane. Now, when you paint the stripes, also remember that this is a rounded candy cane, so your stripes need to just have the tiniest curve. And then that really comes into play when you're going around the corner. And I think what might be nice is to do some Christmassy hundreds and thousands on the top of the hot chocolate. So I'm going to take cadmium red, and scatter some dots about, and then I'm going to take some sap green as well. Don't overload the brush, so just get it in your palette well, and then get however much you need, and you can control it then. You could always put a green stripe on your candy cane as well if you wanted. Now we're just going to let that dry, and then the last thing we're going to do is actually add just the tiniest bit of shadow to the candy cane itself, which means when we rub out the pencil we're able to see the candy cane in even the white bits. So here's my little bit of shadow, and just very carefully going to add a little bit to the underside. You can see how it picks up the red. And then anywhere else you want to just add a little bit more of a low light. And then get my slightly larger brush and a little sweep of shadow underneath is always a really helpful way to set the scene.